Hi, welcome to Garden Wise, Santa Barbara's most informative show about sustainable landscaping. Did you know that 2013 was the driest year on record in California? With all this talk of a serious drought, we're going to devote this entire episode to conserving water. That's right, we'll show you in all these segments how to save water in your landscape. To kick off the show, we're going to have some fun with a water waster and show her how to be more water conscious in the landscape.
Myrtle is a Santa Barbara resident who thinks her lawn is the best feature in her front yard. Little does she know her neighbors Bill and Betty are tired of seeing wasted water run down the street from her yard.
She waters her lawn 5 times a week. And look, it doesn't work. It's still dead.
I think more water ends up on the ends of our street than on her lawn. It's such a waste.
That's why they called Meg West of What Not to Water to end her water wasting ways and replace her lawn with a new water-wise landscape.
Surprise! You've been selected for What Not to Water. Are you aware that we're in a drought? Your neighbors are tired of seeing precious water wasted from your landscape. Luckily, we're here to help.
First, we put Myrtle in the middle of her raggedy lawn to tell us what she thinks about it.
I just love having a lawn to lay out and relax on. It's big and spacious, and my dog loves it.
Even though Myrtle waters her lawn 5 times a week, she's clueless about how much never reaches her landscape.
Myrtle, there are plenty of ways to have a beautiful, spacious yard without wasting water. I mean, what about creating a nice private patio made out of a drought-tolerant ground cover like Diamondia? Or if you absolutely have to have a lawn, then at least use a drought-tolerant grass. And as far as your dog, there's plenty of parks around here. And, you know, your lawn looks kind of terrible anyway.
But isn't a lawn the only thing you can put in the front yard? I mean, when I grew up in Chicago, everyone had the nicest yards in the summertime, and well, this just reminds me of my childhood.
Isn't it obvious that California and Chicago have totally different climates? I mean, they get 36 inches of rain a year. We get barely half that if we're lucky. So now that we're in a drought, it's time to permanently change our water wasting ways. So Myrtle, I think it's time that we fit you with something a little more water swimming.
To get started, we sent Myrtle to explore the many unique water-wise demonstration gardens around Santa Barbara County. In the meantime, Meg brought in the What Not to Water crew to rip out Myrtle's raggedy front lawn. After the lawn was removed, the crew planted a variety of water-wise plants, installed a water-efficient drip system, as well as a beautiful new walkway. They finished by adding gravel and mulch for a more diverse, colorful aesthetic. Once the yard was completely renovated, Meg invited Myrtle back to walk through her beautiful new water-wise landscape.
Here we are, Myrtle. It's your yard transformed. What do you think?
Is this even my place? It looks incredible. You mean to tell me this will actually help me to save water?
This will save you a lot of water, I promise. Let me walk you through all the ways you're going to save water with this landscape. We installed drip irrigation, which is great because it delivers the water directly to the root zone of the plants, and you avoid overspray and runoff, which is a major problem with sprinklers. Another thing that we did to save water in this landscape is install beautiful water-wise plants. Now, most of the plants here are Mediterranean plants, which means that they're well suited for long, hot, dry spells. Some of the plants that we used are the olive tree, statice, Spanish lavender, rock rose, and blue fescue. We also installed this paver walkway. Now this is a much better idea to have these individual pavers than one contiguous walkway because the gaps here actually allow the water to infiltrate into the soil during a rainstorm. So this is a great idea if you need a walkway, but you want something that looks beautiful and helps bring rainwater into your soil. And the last thing we did was cover all the soil with mulch. Now mulch is so important for keeping the water in the soil and keeping your plants healthy. So you don't want to have any bare ground in your garden. You want a nice thick layer, at least 2 to 3 inches of mulch around all your plants. So Myrtle, do you feel any different now that you're not a water wasting offender?
Yeah, I can't wait to show Bill and Betty my new landscape. I mean, I know they loved it before, but wait till they see this.
Well, it looks like my work here is done. I'm off to find the next water wasting offender. I hope it's not you. It's extremely important to check your irrigation system for leaks at least every few months, or more often if you notice that leaks are a common problem. And if you're tired of having a thirsty lawn, your water provider may be able to help you with the Smart Landscape Rebate Program. Contact your water provider for more information about how they can help you replace your thirsty lawn with drought-tolerant landscaping. There's also information at waterwisesb.org. Up next, we're going to visit a real homeowner who noticed that she was wasting water, and she did something about it.
Well, what used to be in this parkway was just plain grass, and we had the lawn put in when we first moved in, and it was just starting to get really dry and mangy.
Not only was the tiny strip of grass difficult to maintain, but Diane had no idea how much water was being wasted every time the sprinklers went off.
Well, because the sprinklers go off so early in the morning, I didn't really take a notice to it, nor did my husband. So a friend of ours who actually works for the city water pointed it out to us when she came by. It happened to be a day that the landscapers were here doing work. And so they were running a test on the sprinkler, and she noticed how much water was being wasted and pointed it out to me. And when I realized that there was more water on the sidewalk and on the road, I started realizing we needed to make a little change.
After discovering the runoff, Diane called David of Landscapes by David's to help come up with an immediate solution.
This week we're going to remove the lawn. We're going to be adapting the irrigation system. They had existing overhead on the lawn, which has a lot of overspray and waters the whole area. We're going to adapt that system to drip, which has emitters for each individual plant. And what we do is we dig up each individual head. We cap off the heads that aren't wanted. A few heads we use as stub ups for our drip pipe. And then at the valve itself, we adapt it and we add what is a pressure regulator and a filter for the drip system. The drip system requires a lower pressure than the sprinkler head, so you need to get the pressure down to around 35 pounds. And then you also have to have a filter so the emitters don't clog. And also we're going to put in some flagstone stepping stones with some diamondia planted in the joints. And then we're going to put a few plants here and there and mulch the bed.
The project only took a matter of days to remove the lawn, install a drip system, and plant water-wise plants. Now, Diane's landscape will only use half the amount of water it was using before.
It's so nice not to have to deal with the maintenance issue. We don't do anything. It just kind of takes care of itself, and it just looks nice, and it's exactly what we've always wanted. We just never knew how to get there. It took us a long time to get here, so. No, my husband loves it because he doesn't have to mow that area, so it's great. It's great all around.
We're getting a lot of people talking about the drought and a lot of people considering changing and making changes in their landscape. Some people are initiating projects. One project I did today was I did take out some plants and we just mulched the whole area. And I was going to put in plants for this gentleman, and then a week later he decided he didn't want to plant that area just because of the drought. So I do see changes, and I think a lot of people are thinking about it, and I've sat down and talked to a lot of people with their water bills and gone over it, and people are preparing to save.
I would say, we had help doing this, but it's a pretty easy project to just rip out that little strip of lawn, put some rocks or even some little flagstone and put some succulents around it and some drip line. It's not that difficult. Again, it's easy to say because we didn't do it ourselves, but we couldn't picture this because it was just lawn for so long. So we were so glad that we had the help we had, but really anyone can do it.
Do you have useless lawn in your parkway? Well, you should definitely consider replacing it with a more drought-tolerant plant like Diamondia. For more information on water-efficient landscaping, visit waterwisesb.org. We'll be right back with more Garden Wise.
Meet the most fascinating man in the world. When droughts happen, water experts go to him for water-saving actions. His front lawn requires no water because he replaced it with WaterWise plants. He only works 2 days a week, and so do his sprinklers. He uses so little water, overwatered plants seek refuge in his yard.
I know a lot about saving water, but when I want to know more, I go to waterwisesp.org. Let's save together, my friends.
Welcome back. To make sure you're not wasting water, you have to go out and actually visually inspect your irrigation system as it's in operation. Coming up next, we'll show you how to do that. Hi, good morning.
Good morning.
I'm a neighbor from down the street, and I was just wondering if you were aware of the drought that we're in.
Oh, of course I'm aware of it. In fact, you may notice that we've replaced our green lawn with drought-tolerant plants so we can save water.
Oh, it really looks nice. But the reason I stopped by today is because, you know, I take my morning walks here every day, and I walk right by your house, and I notice that every morning at about 6 a.m., your sprinklers are watering the sidewalk and the street. Did you know that was going on?
No, I had no idea. In fact, I always assumed that our gardener was taking care of regulating the system.
Well, most people do think their gardener takes care of that, but unless you've actually specifically asked them to check your irrigation timer or you've gone through it yourself, it's really hard to know. I have a couple minutes. If you want me to help you and show you how to do that, I'd be happy to.
Sure, I think that's a good idea. Let me get my husband.
Okay.
So this is where it is.
Well, one of the first things you can do when you're performing your own irrigation audit is take advantage of the water percent adjust feature on your timer. And this basically adjusts all of the sprinkler stations at the same time. It's a really easy way to make sure that you're watering the correct amount of time as the weather changes. So did you know that at waterwisesp.org you can actually get that water percent adjust?
No, I
Yeah,
didn't
it's
realize
super
that.
easy. You can just go on to waterwisesp.org, and they actually post the water percent adjust every week.
Okay.
So right now it's at 57%. So let's see what your timer is set at. I'm going to turn the dial to water budget percent, and you're set for 100%, which means that you're overwatering.
Okay.
So we'll just go ahead and use these arrow buttons to get down to 60%. And now you'll be watering 40% less. If it gets a little warmer, the percentage just might go up, or if it gets real cool, you know, this might go down to 20 or 30. So you can just check waterwisesp.org every week.
Okay.
And that'll give you your correct water percentage. So we'll go ahead and set that to 60, which is where it should be right now.
Good.
And then the next thing we wanted to do was solve the problem with your sprinklers that are sprinkling the sidewalk and the street, right?
Right, absolutely.
So do you know which station it is that's actually watering that section?
That's number 3.
Okay, so what we want to do now for the self-irrigation audit is to actually visually inspect each station as it's functioning, because as we learned, they go on in the middle of the night and you have no idea if they're functioning correctly.
Right.
So you have to go out there and look at it with your own eyes. And that means you turn each station on one by one. And since we know number 3 isn't adjusted correctly, we'll start with that. We go to station number 3, and then we just put in, let's run it for 2 minutes. And then on this timer, you just hit manual start. And it goes ahead and turns on that station. And I can see it's going on. So we'll go out and take a look at it and see how it's working.
Okay, good.
Okay.
Oh, there it is.
Yeah, so here's what I noticed.
Okay.
And, this is the kind of thing you're looking for, and there's no way to know unless you just turn it on and look yourself. So
that.
this is really easy to fix. You just pick it up and rotate it so it's actually watering the plant. Somehow the stake just got aligned incorrectly. And that's all there is to it.
Good, that was
So-
simple.
Good. All right, let's check out what's going on in your backyard.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh dear.
Uh-oh. So this is really common. It looks like what happened here is some little animal or something just gnawed off the end of your drip hose. So we can fix that really easily. I'm just going to turn it off right at the valve here. And the way that we fix this is just with a little goof plug. I happen to have one right here. And it's just a little plug that goes in the hose, and it stops it from geysering. So you just stick it right in there. Okay, so we just want to go through every single station and visually check it like we've been doing and make sure there aren't any leaks. Okay. So I also wanted to point out something else you can do. This is a guide to working with your gardener for a healthy garden. And this is available for free download at waterwisesb.org. Okay. And what it is it's something that you can use to talk to your gardener about how to make your garden as water-wise as possible. Okay. And on the back, it's in Spanish and English, and it covers things like lawn care, general maintenance, pest management, and irrigation scheduling. And it's really important in this drought more than ever to communicate with your gardener and set those expectations to save water. All right, there you go.
Thank you.
Thank you. If you want to make sure that your landscape is as water efficient as possible, contact your water provider for a free irrigation checkup. Up next, we have a horrific crime to solve, so put on your detective hats and we'll go with landscape architect and author Billy Goodnick to the scene of yet another crime in Crimes Against Horticulture.
The story you're about to see is true. The location of these plants has been changed to protect the innocent. This is the city, Santa Barbara, California. Some call it paradise. Mountains and ocean views, classic architecture, and exotic gardens. But drive down any street in any neighborhood, and you'll find them there, sometimes in broad daylight. People perpetrating pointlessly pitiful pruning on peaceful plants. My name is Billy Goodnick, and I run the Crimes Against Horticulture Division. Actually, there's no such thing, but wouldn't it be cool if there were? My mission is to help my community create beautiful, useful, sustainable landscapes. Plants that don't look like a bunch of UFOs, meatballs, and hockey pucks. I was at my desk Monday morning after a 3-day surf weekend in New Cuyama. But I quickly forgot about my sore muscles as soon as Jane delivered today's shocking case file. Plant Code 4261 states, no plant or plants, regardless of species or place of origin, shall be shaped like his and hers toilet cleaning brushes. I don't write the laws, man. I just enforce them. Looking at the crime scene photos, it was hard at first to determine the actual species of these plants, but when we got forensics back and some DNA, we determined these are olive trees. It looked like a case of an unscrupulous gardener who overbid the job and just had to look busy every week. As bizarre as this hack job looks, it points to an even bigger problem, which is the opportunity to allow the tree to grow big enough to cast some shade. There's a parking space off just to the left, so imagine getting in your car with no shade on a hot day. They also keep paved surfaces and our homes cool, making our cities cooler. In the long run, that saves on energy bills and just makes it a much more comfortable place to live. So how do we fix a problem like this? First thing I would do would be to confiscate the perpetrator's power tools and make them promise to stop harassing plants. If there's a well-formed network of branches underneath the canopy, there's a chance that it could be retrained and turn into a full-size tree. In that case, I might be able to talk the district attorney into just making this a nuisance complaint. If that doesn't work, literally cut your losses, remove the tree, and give it a decent burial in a mulch pile. Then, replace this dearly departed couple with an appropriate tree. You can get a lot of ideas on tree selection and how to care for trees at the National Arbor Day Foundation's website. Okay, Jane, got another one for the case closed file. Thank you so much. Oh, and when you have a second, would you get the Olive Tree Witness Protection Program on the line for me? God, she's good. Okay, you're not going to believe this. I got these 2 olive trees.
Stay tuned for our next episode where landscape architect and author Billy Goodnick tackles another horrific case of pitiful pruning. Well, that does it for this show. Remember, you are the agent of change, and together we can create beautiful gardens that also conserve water. There are lots of resources online that can help. Visit waterwisesb.org for more information and to view past episodes of the show. If you have any questions or comments, you can always call us at 564-5311 or visit our Facebook page. I'm your host, Meg West, and keep it green, Santa Barbara.